B&B spoilers. Eric Forrester, a Trojan horse, turns on Batie? This week, Eric Forrester will do the unthinkable on the bold and the beautiful. Spoilers say the patriarch will betray his entire family and have a meeting with their new rival Katie Spencer, Heather Tom. Eric wants to work, and Katie needs a designer that can compete with FC. Is it a match made in heaven, or will Katie's new secret employee come back to haunt her? Keep reading to find out what's coming up next on Bold and Beautiful. Eric teams up with the enemy. This week's soap preview shows Eric Forrester, John McCook, having a clandestine meeting with new fashion company owner Katie Spencer. B&B spoilers reveal that Katie is on the prowl and searching for employees for her new company. Thanks to Ridge Forrester, Torsten K., Eric is out of work and looking for a place that doesn't discriminate against the elderly. Eric and Katie have always had a mutual respect for each other at the office and in their private lives. The patriarch is still bitter at this son for putting him out to pasture and wants to prove that he's still got it. Katie Spencer is already in talks with Deke Sharp, Harrison Cohn, to come design for her, adding Ridge's own father would definitely give her company a fighting chance against FC. Katie's move comes back to haunt her. The bold and the beautiful spoilers hint Katie will probably work with Eric Forrester just to get back at her sister and Ridge. But in the grand scheme of things, she could come to regret her decision. If Eric starts to feel guilty and decides to switch teams, he's in the perfect position to sabotage Katie's company. The new fashion company owner wouldn't know what hit her. Right now, Eric wants to get back at Ridge. But if Katie actually starts getting a leg up in the competition, he could change his mind. Forrester Creations is Eric's legacy. Will he really sit back and watch it crumble just to prove a point? The sun may be shining over the Forrester mansion, but a cold wind is blowing through the heart of Los Angeles. For decades, Eric Forrester, John McCook, has been the moral compass of the bold and the beautiful. He is the patriarch, the gentleman, and the creator of an empire. But as of Tuesday, January 13th, 2026, that image has been shattered. In a twist that has left the Batie fandom, those rooting for the reunited Bill Spencer, Don Diamant, and Katie Logan, Heather Tom, absolutely reeling. The latest spoilers suggest that Eric isn't just joining Katie's new fashion house out of spite for Ridge. He might be a Trojan horse, sent to dismantle Katie's dreams from the inside. Is the Grandmaster of Fashion actually planning a villainous turn? Or is he a broken man willing to burn everything down, including his relationship with the Logans? Let's dive deep into this heartbreaking development. The setup, a family divided. To understand why this news is so devastating, we have to look at the battlefield. Ridge Forrester, Torsten K., and Brooke Logan, Catherine Kelly Lang, have spent the last few weeks treating Eric like a relic. By forcing him into a surprise retirement and dismissing his creative spark, Ridge effectively handed his father a pink slip to his own legacy. Enter Katie Logan. Fueled by Bill's unwavering support and a desire to finally step out of Brooke's shadow, Katie launched her own fashion house, Logan. It was a move of independence, a move of Batie power. When Eric approached Katie this week, offering his legendary design skills to help her crush Forrester Creations, fans cheered. It felt like the ultimate Team Katie victory. But today's revelations suggest we were all being played. The Trojan horse theory. Is Eric turning on Batie? The term Trojan horse is being whispered across spoiler forums for a reason. While Eric claims he wants to get back at Ridge, his true loyalty has always been to the Forrester name. The hidden agenda. Insiders suggest that Eric cannot bear to see the Logan name surpass Forrester. By embedding himself as Katie's lead designer, he gains total control over her debut collection. If Eric produces designs that are intentionally off, or if he sabotages the production schedule from within, Katie's company could fold before its first runway show. The Bill Spencer factor. Eric has never truly liked Bill Spencer. Seeing Bill and Katie, the Batie powerhouse, funding a rival company using the Logan name, which Brooke still claims as her trademark, might be more than Eric can stomach. Is Eric acting as a double agent to protect the Forrester dynasty? The mental toll. Some fans are worried that Eric's sad news isn't just about betrayal, but about his health. Is his erratic behavior and turning on his closest allies a sign that his previous medical issues have returned, affecting his judgment? Why this is very sad news for Katie and Bill. For Katie, this isn't just business, it's personal. She looked at Eric as a father figure when her own family, specifically Brooke, tried to block her from using the Logan name. To have Eric turn on her now would be a soul-crushing blow. Bill Spencer, meanwhile, is in protector mode. He put his resources behind Katie to give her the world. If he discovers that Eric is using Katie's vulnerability to sabotage her, we aren't just looking at a fashion war. We're looking at a total war. Dollar Bill doesn't take kindly to people hurting the woman he loves, especially not a Forrester. I don't want to pit you against your son, Katie told Eric in a recent scene. This is what I want, Eric replied with a coldness we haven't seen in years. That want might not be a partnership. It might be a dismantling. The fallout, a house of cards. If Eric truly is a Trojan horse, the ripple effects will destroy more than just a business. Donna Logan's nightmare, Donna Jennifer Garice, is currently honey to Eric and sister to Katie. If Eric betrays Katie, Donna will be forced to choose between her husband and her sister. This could end their marriage. The Bridge versus Batie war. Brooke and Ridge are already smug about their position. If they are in on Eric's plan, the bond between the Logan sisters may be severed forever. The return of RJ. With RJ Forrester, Brian Nicoletti, back in town, he finds his family in shambles. Will he side with his grandfather's ruthless tactics or his Aunt Katie's vision? What's next? As we head toward the end of the week, the tension is at an all-time high. On Friday, January 16th, Katie is set to make a big announcement to Bill. Will she announce that Eric is officially on board, unaware that she's letting a wolf into the fold? Or will Bill's Spencer instincts kick in, spotting Eric's deception before it's too late? The Batie journey has always been uphill, but this betrayal from Eric Forrester, the man we all trusted, is a knife in the back that no one saw coming. I don't want to pit you against your son, Katie told Eric in a recent scene. This is what I want, Eric replied with a coldness we haven't seen in years. That want might not be a partnership. It might be a dismantling. The fallout, a house of cards. If Eric truly is a Trojan horse, the ripple effects will destroy more than just a business. Donna Logan's nightmare, Donna Jennifer Garice, is currently honey to Eric and sister to Katie. If Eric betrays Katie, Donna will be forced to choose between her husband and her sister. This could end their marriage. The Bridge versus Batie war. Brooke and Ridge are already smug about their position. If they are in on Eric's Forrester creations have witnessed countless power plays, secret alliances, and devastating betrayals. But the bold and the beautiful may be heading toward one of its most heartbreaking twists yet. In today's very sad, spoiler-filled speculation, a shocking question looms large. Is Eric Forrester becoming a Trojan horse, and is Batie about to pay the ultimate price? For months, fans have taken comfort in the steady, mature romance between Bill Spencer and Katie Logan, a pairing many believed had finally earned its peace after years of chaos. But peace never lasts long in Los Angeles, especially when a legendary patriarch like Eric Forrester may be hiding an agenda beneath his warm smiles and grandfatherly wisdom. What if Eric isn't the ally he appears to be? What if, knowingly or not, he's carrying destruction straight into Bill and Katie's fragile happiness? The calm before the storm, why Batie felt safe. After everything Katie and Bill have endured, betrayals, heartbreak, health scares, and rival romances, fans were cautiously optimistic. Bill appeared humbled, more reflective. Katie seemed stronger, less willing to sacrifice herself for a man who couldn't change. Their recent closeness felt different, slower, more intentional, less explosive, and more real. For the first time in years, Batie didn't feel like a ticking time bomb, which is precisely why this new spoiler speculation feels so devastating. Because in BMB history, whenever a couple feels safe, something or someone is already moving in the shadows. Eric Forrester, loving patriarch or strategic Trojan horse. Eric Forrester has always been the heart of the Forrester family, the wise elder, the man who values legacy, loyalty, and love above all else. Recently, he's been portrayed as more reflective than ever, focused on family unity, forgiveness, and second chances. But here's where the danger lies. Eric believes deeply in Brooke Logan, and by extension, he believes in Brooke's destiny with Ridge. That belief has quietly placed him at odds with Katie's happiness, especially when that happiness doesn't align with the Logan Forrester grand design Eric has defended for decades. Spoilers hint that Eric may soon begin nudging events, offering advice, encouragement, and subtle influence that appears harmless, but could actually destabilize Batie from within. That's where the Trojan horse theory takes root. The Trojan horse theory, how Eric could turn on Batie without meaning to. A Trojan horse doesn't attack openly. It arrives disguised as a gift. Eric doesn't need to sabotage Bill and Katie directly. In fact, the most heartbreaking part of this theory is that Eric may truly believe he's doing the right thing. Possible spoiler paths include Eric encouraging Bill to reflect on his past in ways that reopen old wounds. Eric subtly reminding Katie of Bill's darkest mistakes under the guise of protecting her. Eric facilitating encounters or conversations that bring unresolved feelings to the surface. Eric prioritizing Brooke's family harmony over Katie's romantic future. Each move on its own seems loving, wise, protective. Together, they could poison the foundation of Batie's trust. Bill Spencer, the man who never sees the knife until it's in. Bill has many strengths, but emotional foresight has never been one of them. If Eric begins questioning Bill's growth, intentions, or long-term reliability, it won't just hurt Bill's pride. It will trigger his worst instincts, defensiveness, self-sabotage, and reckless decision-making. Spoilers suggest Bill may soon feel judged instead of trusted, tested instead of supported, isolated at the very moment he's trying to do better. And when Bill feels cornered, he lashes out or walks away before he can be left. That alone could undo everything he and Katie have rebuilt. Katie Logan, caught between loyalty and love. Katie's tragedy may be the quietest and the most painful. Eric has always treated her with respect. He's family, a moral compass, someone whose opinion carries enormous weight. So if Eric begins expressing concerns about Bill, especially framed as worry for Katie's emotional safety, it could plant seeds of doubt she desperately doesn't want to feel. And that's the cruelest part. Katie doesn't want drama. She doesn't want to fight for love anymore. She wants certainty. If Eric's influence makes her question whether Bill truly deserves another chance, Katie may step back. Not because she stopped loving Bill, but because she's tired of risking her heart. That kind of choice doesn't explode. It silently breaks everything. Brooke, Ridge, and the ripple effect. No Trojan horse acts alone. If Eric's actions indirectly serve Brooke and Ridge's long-term alignment, the fallout could become explosive. Brooke may feel validated, believing Bill hasn't truly changed. Ridge may feel reinforced in his long-standing distrust of Bill. Family gatherings could become emotional minefields. Old Logan Spencer rivalries could resurface overnight. And suddenly, Batie isn't just fighting for their relationship. They're fighting the weight of history. That's a battle very few couples survive. Why this twist feels especially cruel. Fans aren't just watching a potential breakup. They're watching hope unravel. Batie represented growth, accountability, the idea that people who hurt each other deeply could still evolve and choose love differently the second time around. If Eric, one of the show's most moral figures, becomes the catalyst for their destruction, it sends a devastating message. Even wisdom can wound. Even love can betray. Even family can be the sharpest knife. Is Eric truly turning on Batie, or is the damage unavoidable? The saddest possibility of all, Eric may never realize what he's done. He may believe he acted out of love, out of protection, out of loyalty to legacy. But when the dust settles and Bill and Katie stand on opposite sides of a heartbreak they didn't fully choose, Eric Forrester could find himself facing a truth more painful than betrayal. Good intentions don't prevent devastation. Final thoughts, a tragedy in slow motion. As the bold and the beautiful inches toward this possible storyline, one thing is clear: this isn't a loud scandal. It's a slow, sorrowful unraveling. If Eric Forrester truly becomes a Trojan horse in Batie's love story, the damage won't come from malice, but from misplaced faith in the past. Old Logan Spencer rivalries could resurface overnight. And suddenly, Batie isn't just fighting for their relationship. They're fighting the weight of history. That's a battle very few couples survive. Why this twist feels especially cruel. Fans aren't just watching a potential breakup. They're watching hope unravel. Batie represented growth, accountability, the idea that people who hurt each other deeply could still evolve and choose love differently the second time around. If Eric, one of the show's most moral figures, becomes the catalyst for their destruction, it sends a devastating message. Even wisdom can wound. Even love can betray. Even family can be the sharpest knife. Is Eric truly turning on Batie? Or is the damage unavoidable? The saddest possibility of all? Eric may never realize what he's done. He may believe he acted out of love, out of protection, out of loyalty to legacy. But when the dust settles and Bill and Katie stand on opposite sides of a heartbreak they didn't fully choose, Eric Forrester could find himself facing a truth more painful than betrayal. Good intentions don't prevent devastation. Final thoughts, a tragedy in slow motion. As the bold and the beautiful inches very sad news on the bold and the beautiful sends shockwaves through Los Angeles and leaves longtime fans reeling. In a move no one saw coming and many never wanted to imagine, Eric Forrester has quietly aligned himself with the enemy, the man who built Forrester Creations, the moral compass of the family, the patriarch whose word once meant everything, has crossed a line that may never be erased. This isn't just a strategic mistake. This is a betrayal of blood, legacy, and love. And the fallout is only beginning. A patriarch at a crossroads. For decades, Eric Forrester has stood as the emotional backbone of the Forrester dynasty. Through fashion wars, romantic implosions, hostile takeovers, and generational feuds, Eric remained the steady hand guiding his family through chaos. Even when he was wrong, his heart was always believed to be in the right place. That's why today's revelation hurts so deeply. Eric isn't being manipulated. He isn't being coerced. He made a choice to work with someone who has directly threatened his family, undermined his children, and endangered everything Forrester Creation stands for. And that choice changes everything. Who is the enemy? While details are still unfolding, one thing is clear: this is no minor rival or temporary business inconvenience. The enemy Eric has chosen to work with represents years of conflict, resentment, and unresolved wounds. This is someone who has exploited Forrester weaknesses, pitted family members against one another, used secrets as weapons, and shown little regard for loyalty or legacy. For Eric to join forces with this person isn't just shocking, it feels unnatural, almost unrecognizable, which begs the painful question: why would Eric Forrester do this? The motive no one wants to face. Sources close to the situation suggest Eric's decision didn't come from greed or revenge, but from fear. Fear of irrelevance. Fear of being pushed aside. Fear that the empire he built no longer needs him. As younger Forresters step into power and long-standing dynamics shift, Eric has found himself watching from the sidelines more often than ever. And for a man who spent his life leading, guiding, and protecting, that silence can be unbearable. The enemy saw that vulnerability, and they used it by offering Eric influence, validation, and a chance to correct the direction of Forrester Creations. the enemy planted a dangerous seed, one that has now grown into a full-blown alliance. Ridge Forrester, betrayed by his own father. No one feels this blow more deeply than Ridge Forrester. Ridge has spent years trying to balance respect for his father with the responsibility of leading the company forward. He defended Eric when others doubted him, protected his legacy, and made room for him even when it complicated business decisions. To discover that Eric has gone behind his back? It's devastating. This isn't just about business. This is a father choosing someone else over his own son. And Ridge may never fully recover from that realization. The pain on Ridge's face says it all. This betrayal cuts deeper than any hostile takeover ever could. Steffi's fury could burn everything down. If Ridge is heartbroken, Steffi Forrester is furious. Steffi has always been fiercely protective of her family and Forrester creations. She sees the enemy for exactly what they are, a threat. And the idea that her grandfather would willingly empower that threat feels like an unforgivable sin. To Steffi, this isn't a misunderstanding. It's a declaration of war. And if history has taught us anything, it's this. Steffi doesn't back down. Not when her family is at risk. Not when betrayal is involved. And certainly not when someone she loves crosses a dangerous line. Eric may believe he's making a calculated move. Steffi will make sure he understands the consequences. Brooke Logan caught in the middle again. As always, Brooke Logan finds herself trapped in the emotional wreckage. She loves Eric. She respects him. But she also sees the damage this alliance is causing, especially to Ridge. Brooke understands better than anyone how fragile trust within the Forrester family truly is. She's torn between loyalty and logic, compassion and truth. And the longer Eric remains aligned with the enemy, the more impossible Brooke's position becomes. She may soon be forced to choose a side, and that choice could cost her everything. Is Eric being played or playing everyone else? Here's where the story takes a darker, more unsettling turn. Some insiders whisper that Eric's alliance may not be as straightforward as it seems. Could he be pretending to side with the enemy to gain leverage? Is this a long game designed to expose secrets, dismantle power from within, or reclaim control one final time? If that's true, the risk is enormous. Because if Eric is wrong, if the enemy outsmarts him, the consequences won't just be personal. They'll be catastrophic. The emotional cost no one can ignore. Even if Eric believes he's doing what's best, the emotional damage is already done. Trust has been broken, lines have been crossed, and wounds have been reopened. Family dinners will never feel the same. Boardroom conversations will be loaded with suspicion, and every smile will carry an unspoken question. Whose side are you really on? This alliance doesn't just threaten Forrester Creations. It threatens the family soul. A legacy on the brink. Eric Forrester built more than a fashion house. He built a legacy rooted in family, loyalty, and shared dreams. By teaming up with the enemy, he risks undoing decades of work in a matter of weeks. History will remember this moment, either as a tragic misstep by a fading patriarch, or a calculated gamble that went terribly wrong. And the saddest part? Eric may not live long enough to repair the damage once the truth fully explodes. What happens next? All signs point to an inevitable confrontation, one that will force Eric to defend his choice in front of the very people he's hurt the most. Will Ridge walk away for good? Will Steffi strike back with everything she has? Will Brooke finally choose stability over loyalty? And when the enemy's true intentions are revealed, because they always are, will Eric be strong enough to face what he's done? Final thoughts. A sad day for the Forresters. Today's news isn't just shocking. It's heartbreaking. Seeing Eric Forrester, the man who once united everyone, now standing beside the enemy feels like watching the foundation of the bold and the beautiful itself begin to crack. This alliance may bring short-term power, but it carries a long-term cost that could destroy the Forrester family from the inside out, a tragic misstep by a fading patriarch. or a calculated gamble that went terribly wrong. And the saddest part? Eric may not live long enough to repair the damage once the truth fully explodes. What happens next? All signs point to an inevitable confrontation, one that will force Eric to defend his choice in front of the very people he's hurt the most. Will Ridge walk away for good? Will Steffi strike back with everything she has? Will Brooke finally choose stability over loyalty? And when the enemy's true intentions are revealed, because they always are, will Eric be strong enough to face what he's done? Final thoughts. A sad day for the Forresters. Today's news isn't just shocking. It's heartbreaking. Seeing Eric Forrester, the man who once united everyone, now standing beside the enemy feels like watching the foundation of the bold and the beautiful itself begin to crack.